Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Sweat Strategy and Success. I'm your host, Solly Rain, and in this podcast, we talk all about wellness and business and how entrepreneurs and marketers alike can capitalize on the booming wellness industry. If you are a consumer of wellness products, or you're an entrepreneur that's in the industry, or you're considering taking the first steps to get into the industry, then I highly recommend this episode for you. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about what wellness is. We're going to be talking about the industry itself, some gaps and trends that we're seeing, and more. So I'm super excited. I've done a ton of research on this, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So let's get started. So today is actually a very special day because I have a desk to record this podcast on, which is very special to me because I'm so used to bouncing around that having a controlled environment to record this podcast on is very special for me. Let's give her a moment. Okay, moment's over. Let's talk about wellness, shall we? So, my wellness journey started with a couple of $1,000s of medical debt from me going to the doctors when I was sick, or a very common one for me was getting a UTI, needing to get tested for that UTI, and then having to get antibiotics for that UTI. So, all that combined, plus some iffy insurance, ended up with me having quite a bit of medical debt. And so, I needed to take a step back and determine what was the best route for me in order to make sure that I was going to the doctor less, making sure that I was taking better care of myself. And this kind of led me into my own journey of wellness. I think this is a pretty common story. If it isn't, then there's different variations of it, right? And that's what landed me here doing this podcast as a marketer for the last 4 to 5 years, kind of dancing on the edge of this space, or maybe getting involved with a few companies as a freelancer within this space. I got really interested in it and I wanted to learn more. And I wanted other people to learn more about it as well, since it is such a huge industry. And we'll talk about some statistics about exactly how big this industry is later on. And I also wanted to empower consumers in buying wellness products because there is so much incorrect information out there. Talk about that more later as well. And so let's start off with the basics, right? What is wellness? The Global Wellness Institute defines wellness as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. The word itself is a modern word with ancient roots. The key roots of wellness, as both preventative and holistic, can be traced back to ancient civilizations in the East, think India and China, and to the West, such as Greece and Rome. While convention began making strides in the 19th century through a variety of intellectual, religious, and medical movements, it overshadowed the holistic and natural approaches that came from generations of traditional practices. In a way that we understand the wellness industry today is usually attributed to a informal network of physicians and thought leaders in the 60s and 70s who are bringing back the idea of what good nutrition, good sleep, healthy spirituality all is to the human body and living longer, healthier lives. Something to consider also about this group of physicians and thought leaders in this space is that they were a group of white men. So allow that to inform your understanding of the wellness industry that we have today as well. So the thing about wellness is it's different for everybody, right? Going to depend on what your needs are, what you're looking to accomplish. And I think there's a small piece in there also about what kind of content you're consuming. So, for example, whenever I go onto TikTok or Instagram, I get the wellness girlies. They always pop up on my feed. And I know that this is something that a lot of people get on their feeds as well because there's thousands of likes, right? If you're an entrepreneur or a marketer, then this is going to show to you that there is a market out there, possibly for your product, or at least somebody who is interested in buying consumer wellness products or services. So then we can ask ourselves, where is this coming from? why is this happening, and how can we as marketers, entrepreneurs, business people, and even as people who are just taking in wellness products fit into the industry and into the space. Senior creative strategist Laura Lutz discusses the wellness economy boom in Dalziel and Powell, stating the top 5 drivers for this boom are self-optimization, democratized well-being, taking back control, a new balance, and the search for purpose. So let's do a quick review of these top 5 drivers. The better that we can understand it, the better that we can understand the industry, us as people being involved in the industry for your consumer, and your consumers if you're a business person. So first, let's talk about self-optimization. The consumer understanding of wellness is turning into a more considered and self-aware approach encompassing spiritual, emotional, and mental health to deal with underlying stress, fatigue, and sadness. All of this underlying the quest for control through the purchases of goods and services that will help bring us to our most optimal self. 2. Democratized well-being. With accelerated demands of an aging population and rising chronic illnesses, the prices of wellness products and services are now more affordable, in my case. Affordable if you're going to the doctor all the time. More affordable than going to the doctor, which is totally fair, right? If you're going to Target and you're buying a probiotic for $30, $40, maybe it's a little bit more expensive depending on what kind of probiotic you're buying, but that's pretty accessible for good gut health. And we know that gut health is very important to a lot of different mechanisms in our body, and that's accessible. People want that, and people want the control of being able to not have to go to the doctors all the time, or just feeling good about themselves and knowing that this next day they're going to be their most optimal self. And so that's the second, democratized well-being. Everybody can pretty much access it. Even in the more expensive ways, I think people can access it through community programs, buying healthy meals, etc. There's some barriers to that, but again, another conversation for another time. I think the access that we have nowadays is more than we've ever had to wellness products. So I think that's definitely something that's understood when a consumer is thinking about buying a wellness product, something that I think about. Now, number 3, taking back control. Between addictive social media platforms, the abundance of choice, and political uncertainty, consumers want to take control back of their health by changing lifestyles. They're regaining time in the things that we so deeply understand that are important to us, such as friends and families and hobbies, instead of TikTok, Instagram, the news, etc. 4th, a new balance. Your smartwatch or ring is not just measuring how many calories you lost that day by walking through your local Trader Joe's, but now it's also collecting information on how you sleep, what your mood is, and how you can optimize what that means for your own health and wellness. Consumers expect many of the brands and services they use to actively improve their processes, environments, and functions. And lastly, number 5, the search for purpose. Laura Lutz talks about how we are now searching for products that align with our values and our desires for a better world. I think this is very true, but I wanted to add to that also that through our social economy, we are also looking for a desire to understand ourselves better in an age of seemingly everyone else understanding themselves. The perfect job, the perfect boyfriend, always traveling, the best salary, you're an entrepreneur, and we all secretly desire for that. And we want to feel like we have our shit together, but obviously we all know that none of us probably do in the way that we assume that other people do. Let's take a quick break there and let that settle into our heads a little bit. When we come back, we are going to talk about the wellness economy and some really shocking statistics about what it looks like today. Did you know that McKinsey valued the global wellness economy at $1.8 trillion in 2024? You heard that right, $1 trillion. We know that as consumers, we have not stopped buying wellness products, and we will most likely continue to do so. Also, according to McKinsey, on a study of 5,000 consumers across the United States, the United Kingdom, and China, 82% of US consumers now consider wellness a top or important priority in their everyday lives, with similar sentiments in the United Kingdom and China at 73 and 87% accordingly. This is especially true amongst Gen Z and millennials across health, sleep, fitness, nutrition, appearance, and mindfulness. When deciding on a product, the most influential factors are efficacy and scientific credibility. I think this one's totally fair. If I'm buying a product, I'm not trying to buy the newest bacterial growth from a mushroom that has not been studied at all to give me energy in the morning, right? I am looking for something that is scientifically backed and has been shown to be efficient in what I'm trying to accomplish. A great example of this is celery juice. In 2019, celery juice became super popular after Anthony Williams, aka the medical medium, touted the incredible and all-encompassing health benefits of celery juice, stating that there was a new salt subgroup called cluster salts that helped with literally everything. But this, as we found out, had zero scientific evidence to back the claim. So we've talked about what wellness is, why people are interested in it, and some numbers that explain how large it is economically, and also some numbers to back our claims that this is going to be an industry that just keeps on growing. So now let's talk a little bit about the trends that are popular right now in wellness. I think this part is super interesting as a marketer, so let's get into it. These trends also came from the McKinsey study, and the McKinsey study stated that the top trends in 2024 are health at home products, biomonitoring and wearables, personalization, gen artificial intelligence boosts, clinical products over clean products, and the rise of the doctor recommendation. I'm not going to get into each, but if you are interested in learning more about these specific areas, I highly recommend that you go and read the McKinsey study. I'm going to link it in the bio or the description of whatever podcast platform that you're listening to this on. Now, this is the part where entrepreneurs and people who are thinking about getting into the industry that you should really pay attention, because this is the way that the industry is heading. So McKinsey states that there's 7 areas of growth within the industry. The 7 are women's health, healthy aging, weight management, in-person fitness, gut health, sexual health, and sleep. We are already starting to see some of these areas open up massively. The first one that I think of, obviously, is weight management with GLP-1s. I also see a lot of new gut health brands coming out, and I see a lot of content on social media about it as well. Obviously, kimchi, probiotics, Greek yogurt, those things aren't new. Talking about the new brands that are coming out with it as their main selling point being gut health. I think that's something that we're seeing a ton of. At least I see it all the time. For example, I love Milo kombucha. I drink Milo kombucha all the time. And it does have amazing benefits for gut health. But I drink it so much now that I don't even really think about it, which is, still good. But I see a ton of new brands every time I walk into the grocery store trying to get their product out there with the intention of gut health being their main selling point. I think with the current trends, the ones that I'm most excited about is the at-home health. This started during the pandemic when people started taking COVID tests, and it became really popular for a lot of different things. I think this makes things more accessible, more affordable, and I'm really excited to see the future of at-home health. I also want to know what you all think about the current trends and the future of the wellness industry and what you're excited about. So let me know down in the comments, or you can email me or message me on any of the social platforms that you can find me on, and let me know what you think your favorite products will be. Lastly, I want to talk about the embodiment of wellness as consumers, as entrepreneurs, marketers, whoever you may be, wherever your intersections may lie that led you to listen to this podcast. I want you to be able to walk away with actionable steps, with ways that you can interact with the wellness industry that feels best for your body and your mind. Interacting with the wellness industry in an informed and healthy way requires critical thinking, research, and self-awareness. Here's some strategies to help you make the best decisions for a healthy and fulfilling life. First, strive for a balanced approach to wellness. As I say, moderation is key. And I know I do my best when I live on a healthy balance of hedonism. You're human and therefore you are not perfect. Remember, nobody is, and just try the best to balance what feels good to you. Second, budget wisely. Invest in products and services that truly benefit your well being at the price point that you can afford. This can include home workouts, community resources, or homemade healthy meals. My personal favorite is my Calm subscription. I don't spend a whole lot of money on it, and it truly helps me live the best life possible for my own well being. Thirdly, stay authentic. Stay true to your values and preferences. Choose wellness practices that resonate with you and enhance your quality of life. Avoid comparing yourself to others and focus on your individual journey towards better health. Fourth, listen to your body. Pay attention to how different wellness practices and products affect you personally. What works for one person may not work for another. And lastly, and probably most importantly, educate yourself. Stay informed about wellness trends, products, and services. Research the science behind claims and understand the benefits and risks involved. Follow reputable sources such as peer-reviewed journals, trusted health websites, and expert opinions. Wellness and business are deeply intertwined. By understanding the industry, making informed choices, and staying true to our passions, we can all make better decisions for our health and success. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Sweat Strategy and Success. If you like this episode, please make sure to save, subscribe, or like on your favorite podcast platforms. I truly enjoy getting to know more about this and sharing this information with you all as well. I can't wait for more opportunities to talk to more entrepreneurs and marketers alike on their journey in the wellness industry, and I hope you're looking forward to it as well. Until then, stay healthy and stay inspired. Bye!